hello. Oh man, it took me a minute to get on this microphone tonight, everybody. My goodness, welcome to a lot of little stories podcast. I am your host, Queenie Love. Welcome back to my show. So, if this is your first time joining me, welcome. And if you've been here before, thank you for finding your way back to me. Um, Many of you know that this podcast has always been about the stories we carry, the stories we tell, and sometimes the stories we don't even realize we're still living in. And it's been a little while since I've sat behind this microphone. But I'll tell you, life has been full in the best of ways. Um, and I've spent the last several months hosting my storytelling brunches. Yes, I hope you all have joined me. I've been sitting with audiences, listening to brave, bold stories, speaking about my memoir, The Path to Here, and having conversations that, stayed with me long after rooms have been emptied. Um, I don't know, it's just been an amazing 6 months or so. And somehow, we're in the middle of it all. I've learned a few things. One, I missed you. I did. Uh, Podcasting has taken a back seat because I've been busy with the book and all the things. I have a real daytime job, so that and love and life has kept me really busy. But like I said, in the middle of all of it, I've learned a few things. And to be honest with you, I've learned more than a few things. Some of those lessons came from some of the storytellers that we've hosted or I've hosted with Friends Kitchen and Cocktails up in Falls Church and the entire squad that makes that even possible. And some have come from my readers. If you're new here, I did write a book. It's called The Path to Here, and it's under Queenie Denise Love. You can check it out on Amazon and several other places. You can also go to my website and grab the book there. But since I became an official author, I'm really proud of that. Um, uh, Learned a few things. And one of the lessons in particular caught me completely off guard. So today I want to talk about storytelling, healing, my book, and the discovery I wasn't expecting at all. I don't want these podcasts this season to be all about me and this book, but I wanted to at least kick it off with this because I want to get it out the way because I think I need to, right? So grab your coffee or take a walk, settle into your favorite chair, or spend a little time with me. Let's just talk, me and you. So I want to talk a little bit about the storytelling brunches. Um, Three things that the storytelling brunches have taught me. The first one is that people are hungry for authenticity. No perfection, polish, no real performances, and simply just authenticity. So month after month, I watch people lean into hearing and listening and watching someone tell their truth. From my storytelling brunches that I host quarterly to storytelling brunches and storytelling events around the DMV, it's been the same. And it's not because of that the stories are dramatic or anything like that, or not even because they're shocking, but I think it's because the stories are real and, they land where they need to land. And they aren't always big stories, so they're just honest and enjoyable. So I have to ask you, like, when was the last time someone told you the truth about their life and it changed something in you? I mean, that's what these storytelling brunches are doing. And the second lesson I'll share with you is that the stories we think are ordinary are often the stories people remember the most. And as a storyteller, we often think nobody wants to hear that. I say it all the time. When I wrote my book, I swore nobody wanted to hear it. Nobody wanted to read it. Hmm, that was such a lie. But time and time again, I've watched audiences or myself just laugh, cry, connect over stories that felt small to the storyteller, likely, because they will tell me whether it's a family dinner, conversation with a parent, missed opportunity, childhood memory. The ordinary carries extraordinary meaning to a lot of people. And the third lesson I learned is that stories heal the teller as well as the listener. I've watched people tell stories that they once were afraid to tell, like myself or one of my most recent storytellers, Delima. You can see some parts of her story on YouTube, on at the a lot of little stories, YouTube, and that is a lot of Lota. Lot apostrophe A. Anyway, I've watched audiences see themselves in someone else's experience. And I've been reminded over and over again that stories help us feel less alone. And I think that matters, especially now. And while I've been learning all of that through storytelling brunches, I've also been learning something through my own personal memoir. And this is something that I did not expect. Since I shared 3 things about my brunches, I've been learning quite a bit. And I'm breaking it down. I've also learned at least 3 things from my readers. And the first lesson I learned is that people don't always connect to the part of the story that you think they will. Also, when I published The Path to Here, I assumed people would focus on the adoption story. So if you haven't read the book is an adoption story. And I assumed they would really focus on um, surviving childhood sexual assault. I mean, that's kind of a showstopper, right? And you hear that me, Queenie Love, survived sexual assault as a child. I thought that would be the thing that stopped people. If it wasn't the adoption story, certainly it's the story I share about how I endured SA. I assumed those would be the questions that people would ask whenever I got invited somewhere to share my story or talk about it. And while people absolutely did talk about those things, hmm, that's not where they stayed. Yep, you probably guessed it. Where did they stay, huh? You're right. They stayed with Peaches. So, for you who have never read my book, The Path to Here, Peaches is not a character. She is my mother. And honestly, it surprised me. Anyway, the second lesson I learned is that the mother wound is more universal than I realized. I didn't want Peaches to become the center of the story. She had already occupied enough of my life. But reader after reader, audience member after audience member, talk back after talk back, people keep returning to Peaches. Now, I think it's because so many of us are still trying to make sense of our relationships with our parents, mother or father, auntie or uncle. Some people had mothers who really loved them deeply, and I hear those beautiful stories. I try to do that with my children, so hopefully I succeeded. I don't know. But some had mothers who struggled. Some had mothers who were absent. Some had mothers who, did the best that they could. Many of us are still carrying questions. I want to ask you, what lessons did you learn from your mother that still lives with you today? And even though in my book I share all the drama about Peaches, I learned a few things from her as well. And I talk about them in any room that I enter and her name comes up. Lastly, what I'll share with you is that the third lesson I learned is forgiveness is not the same thing as reconciliation. And one of the most emotional questions I was asked from a woman with tears streaming down her face at one of my most recent author talkback events in Prince William County, Virginia, was she asked me, was it difficult to write about your mother? And the answer is yes, emphatically yes. But not for the reasons that people think. Honestly, it was difficult because I had to stop writing about who I wanted her to be and write about who she actually was. When I wrote that, I discovered with therapy that she was a neglectful parent. That that hurt bad. I had to hold the harm and the humanity at the same time, and depending on the day, sometime in the same hand. I never got the relationship that I hoped for from my mom. We never had the grand reconciliation people probably imagined. But I learned that forgiveness doesn't always arrive with repair. Sometimes forgiveness is simply releasing the expectation that the past can become something different. And realization kind of changed. And as I've taken the time to reflect on all the things that's been going on in this big, beautiful life of mine, I think what readers have taught me is that this book isn't just about adoption. It was big for me, but it isn't that for them. And it isn't just about trauma. Men and women alike have shared their relatability to this book. And it isn't just about survival. It really is about the mother wound. As much as I've tried to run from that, I cannot. Many of us can relate to the longing of connection, whether it's mother or father. In my personal story, it's mother. It's also about becoming. It's about learning how to carry understanding and accountability there again in the same hand. And maybe that's why people keep talking about Peaches, because she represents something many of us are still trying to understand. So before I go, I know this is quick. Before I go, I want to leave you all with a few questions. I want to leave you with a few questions. Tell me, what story are you still carrying? You see, I was carrying the adoption story, the secrets of it all, the pain, the hurt, the loss of it all. But I couldn't share that adoption story if I didn't go back and share why it ever came to be. Why did I find myself at a crossroad of keeping her or giving her up for adoption? What happened to me? And with that, I realized that I had to go back and share some things that hurt, that I had to face. That was Peaches. So I asked you what story you're still carrying. Share what I was carrying. And now I want to ask you, what conversation have you been avoiding? Is it that conversation of accountability? I'm sorry. Or the fear of asking, why did you do this to me? I know. Sometimes we don't feel like it's even worth it. I get it. And some people will tell you it's better left unsaid. Just move on. And I'm one to say that as long as you're not really carrying it. And only you know if you're carrying it. So, what conversation have you been avoiding? And another question I want to ask you is, who do you need to forgive? I remember this question came up in my first book signing, and I said that sometimes we need to think about what it would take for us to forgive that person. Some people will never give you what you truly need, but you need to be able to identify that so that you're not holding yourself or anyone else hostage. You may be bitter, angry, walking around upset, hurt, resentful, just filled with this stuff, these things, unforgiving. And unfortunately, you've never even really asked yourself, what would it take for you to truly forgive that person? And forgiveness doesn't always mean reconciliation. We get back together and we end a car ride down the road together. That's not what it always means. Forgiveness is an act of letting go of a hope that things could have been any different. Sometimes people are doing their very best. And to be honest, sometimes it's not enough. And that is okay. It's just not enough. What would it take for you to forgive? What would they have to do? And then understand that some people will never do it. Either they won't do it because they do not want to, but they don't value this way you value it, or they're incapable. And you can't do anything when someone is incapable. Perhaps the hardest question of all is what I've asked myself too. What part of your story keeps showing up? Even when you keep trying to talk about something else. What part of your story keeps showing up? Are you able to work through that? Can you work through that? Thank you for spending this time with me. And thank you for listening. This is my soft return to podcasting. It has not been easy because I've been busy in real life. And I love and I miss talking to you. I do. But finding the time in this crazy, big, wild life of mine has been hard. But I have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful season ahead. I'll be talking to a few of you right here on the show. I will be doing a few more video podcasts. I know that many have asked me that. Yeah, there's a few things coming. So hang in there, bear with me. Know that I've missed you. So much more to come. So much more to come. So thank you for allowing me to continue learning alongside you, and I look forward to so much more. But if today's conversation resonated with you, although short, I hope it was sweet. I would love for you to share this comeback episode with someone who may need it. And if, again, you haven't yet read The Path to Here, I invite you to join me on that journey as well. I do have a few other projects that are brewing, and I'm doing something special for social workers and for case managers and for all of those who work in homeless services, providing support for households with children. More to come on that project. Continue to follow me all over social media. I am Queenie Love. Check out whatever handles are in this episode. And YouTube is filling up with stories. Yeah, follow me just a little bit. I'm going somewhere. I am. So until next time, keep telling your stories and keep listening for the stories around you. And remember, sometimes the smallest stories teach us the biggest lessons. I am Queenie Love, and this has been a lot of little stories presented by Bar Talks. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.